Hi everyone. In this presentation, we're going to give you the feedback for the activity The Power of New Media, and we're going to talk about specifically about the importance of social media. So, in the activity, the whole purpose was to understand the reach and the strength of a message posted on social networks. So, we're going to review the importance of social media because in your activity, you were asked to find a blogger or a famous person in the internet, and you needed to answer a series of questions regarding who he is, regarding his trajectory in the internet, and regarding how does he or she influences the internet or the people who watch him or her. So, as most of you have already noticed, everything looks and feels easier with social media. And by this, we refer to a series of specific activities that we all do in our daily lives. For example, when you text your friends but you didn't get a reply to your text, what you can do is you can greet them on Facebook and you will expect them to answer you by an instant message. For example, when you want to listen to music or see a music video, you can very easily go to YouTube, or as you read in the case from last week, you could use an application such as Spotify or Pandora if it were available here in our country. For example, when you just wake up and you don't have to go to get the newspaper to know what's going on. You just need to scroll down your Twitter timeline or your Facebook timeline in your smartphone, and you'll get the information that you're looking for about what has happened in the last few hours, right? Blogs and forums are also types of social media. It is very common for us nowadays to admire a person over the internet, and we constantly check his or her videos where he or she explains his or her opinion about a specific topic. And blogs and forums are types of social media because they allow you to share your views about other media, such as articles or videos that you might also see on the internet. Finally, there is social media where users share about their profession, their studies, their address, their political and religious views, and their technical skills, and they can use it to find a job. For example, LinkedIn is one social network that gives this added value to the persons that use the network. And this is also very useful because this allows the companies to find their employees in a much cheaper way than, for example, if you were to hire a headhunter or someone who charges you for encountering a certain profile of person of who you want to work with, right? So in general, we could say that to some people, social media is the channel through which they have the chance to send and receive important information. Or to others, they might think that through social media, we can get many updates from the people who we follow. And others use social media as a part of a new marketing strategy. Whichever strategy that you choose, or whichever way you choose to use the social media, you will find it useful to communicate information and to know information from other people. It is also important to note that social media is a growing market, and it is very influential on the younger people. For example, the influence of social media on teenagers is of particular importance because they are among the heaviest users of social media in the internet. While they are also developmentally vulnerable group, social media, and it is well known that social media could interfere with their development or endorse their development. It is important to note the facts, and the facts are that 75% of teenagers in the United States have profiles in social networking sites, and 68% among those 75 use Facebook as their main social networking tool. So the teenagers are people which are very used to this new technology, and it is a thing that in the near future, we will see an important rise in the use of this media to communicate with each other. So it is safe to say that in the future we will be working more and more with social media, and it will become a much more normal part of our lives. While social networking plays a vibrant role in increasing social connections and learning technical skills, it is accompanied by some dangers too. For example, the lack of self-regulation. The lack of self-regulation causes problems such as internet addiction and lack of sleeping, which interfere with the normal development of the person. Also, we have proneness to peer pressure, most of all in the adolescent group of people that use the social media. For example, we have seen examples of cyberbullying or people that kill themselves after a video becomes viral. So it is important to note that there are dangers that accompany the use of social media, and we have to be cautious at the time that we use these tools for us to communicate information, because studies have shown that, for example, one of the biggest problems of the users of Facebook have is that they develop some kind of depression because they start comparing themselves to others, and these studies have specifically pointed out that both up and down comparisons. This means that when you compare to people that you perceive to be superior than you or inferior than you, both of these types of comparisons cause depression in the person. So the dangers are very real, and we have to know how to deal with them. And these are real issues because their effect is not very well established yet, because um, the these issues need to be under intense investigation and scrutiny, because contradictory results have arisen, both telling that the problems are not that important, and others telling that the problems are in fact very damaging for the people. So just to illustrate how important the social media how importantly it can affect your life, and here we have a story that went very popular in Indonesia because it started in August of 2008. There was an Indonesian woman called Prita Mulyasari, and he wrote about her disappointment of the services that she received in a hospital in the capital of Indonesia, which is Jakarta. She wrote everything about the bad services that she got from the doctors, the nurses, and the administration staff, and sent the message to her friends, trying to warn them about being more selective when they chose a hospital to be cured. But the problem started when one of her friends shared her message in a website, and the video became viral. So many people read the commercial, uh, and they started to to complain, and people started to have a very negative image of the hospital that she criticized in her video. So, in September of 2008, just 1 month later, the management of the hospital reported Prita for the bad news that she had spread, and they demanded her to pay 261 million rupees for the material and immaterial damages that she caused to the hospital. So after several months of having problems with the viral video, she was finally detained in May of 2009, and she was judged and convicted by the court for using information and communication technology in an inadequate way. This case rapidly spread among the Indonesian people, and this is a very crude example of how social media could affect a person's life. In this case, the story is a negative one, and I think this is important because negative cases mark us very much more than positive cases. But it is important to note that social media can affect you either in a good way, which is uh, which is the most common, or it can affect you also in a bad way, which cannot be discarded just because the people are more affected in a good way than in a bad way. So remember that the purpose of this activity was to understand the reach and the power that a message posted on social media could have. So it is important to come to several conclusions. For example, we know that social networking has both advantages and disadvantages associated with its use. This entails people to becoming more educated about the advantages and disadvantages of social networking, and also it is a good reason for joining social network sites, not just for the pleasure of surfing the internet in excess and falling in all of those addictions and problems associated with the excess use of the internet, but also to be aware of the activities of the others and to know what's happening and how could we protect us and our loved ones from the problems that could be carried on with the excessive use of the internet. For example, Prita's case clearly explains how social media were able to affect her life in a personal way. And as I told you before, this could happen also in a good way. So uh, the point is not to warn people and to tell them not to use social media, but it's quite the contrary. It's to get to know the tool to make a good use of it. You can also use social media to share content faster and easier and to build relationships. And this is one of the personal uses that most people can give it, but it is also important to know that there are commercial uses of social media because you can also create value for your business by increasing brand awareness and loyalty. You could also run targeted ads with real-time results, and also you could use social media to increase website traffic and to find out what your competitors are doing. So it is not only bad things. I think the benefits outweigh the the bad things that could happen with social media. So it is important just to know that this is a powerful tool and that you can use it to change your life. Thank you very much for hearing me, and you have any doubts, please feel free to contact me, and I will be more than glad to answer any question that you may have.